Today on the Bandrew Says podcast, we're going to be analyzing YouTube rolling out some new comment filtering tools, and that's about it. Greetings, Earthlings, and welcome back to episode 186 of the BSP. My name is Bandrew. This is what I says. Like always, episode notes, there are timestamps so you can skip around, save a couple of minutes. But if you got the time, I would appreciate you checking out the entire episode. Excellent news. If you do, what am I doing? If you do want a different version of the show, audio or video, BandrewSays.com, and if you want other educational podcasts, GeeksRising.com. One announcement up top, I don't want to wait till the end. Today, September 30th, 9 o'clock p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, I am going to be on International Podcast Day with the lovely Heather Welch, host of Sunshine and Power Cuts, which is also a show on the Geeks Rising Podcast Network. You can check that out at internationalpodcastaday.com/live. 9 p.m. PDT. I believe that is 12 p.m. EDT. A little bit late. Would love if you could stop by. We're going to be discussing community stuff. Let's jump into the news now. YouTube has announced updated comment filters. Awesome. That's all the news. To dive a little bit deeper, they are going to allow you to filter in the YouTube Studio Beta by a few new different criteria. Those being response status, meaning have you already responded to the comment, contains question, meaning does the comment contain a question. They'll also allow you to filter by subscriber count, meaning does the commenter have at least 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, 1 million, or 10 million subs. Subscriber status is the commenter publicly subscribed to me, and member status is the commenter a member of this channel. Now, out of curiosity, I went ahead and jumped into YouTube Studio Beta, and the first thing that I am sure everybody else is going to do as well is filter by subscriber count to see who has noticed you in the past. I went ahead and filtered by channels over 10 million subscribers, and I have one comment from somebody with over 10 million subscribers, and that would be a comment from Mr. Beast 3 years ago, probably before he even hit 1 million. But 3 years ago, Mr. Beast left a comment on my video of the Shure MV88, if I'm remembering correctly, and he said, "Lol, this is the microphone I use," or something along those lines. So pretty neat. Mr. Beast at one point knew who I was, or at least saw a video that I did. Hey, Mr. Beast, hope you're doing well. I don't think you still use that microphone. I tweeted at you to see if you still use that microphone or if you've switched up, but never heard back from you. Not surprised. You have, 20 million subs now? Congratulations. I also think that just in general, the comment filtering is going to be excellent. It's going to be a big improvement if you get a lot of comments. It's been really difficult to hold any kind of conversation in the comments since they stopped doing proper notifications where if you leave a reply to somebody, you don't get notified when they reply to your comment. So you need to remember that you left that comment and then go back to it and then replied. It's just a huge pain in the butt. So by filtering for comments that you've replied to, that may be a good way to resolve that issue. Then also being able to sort by comments that have questions if you do want to help people out, that will be really useful. I also really like the filter by membership status. That will make it easier for you to ensure that you're able to interact regularly with the people who are actually financially supporting your channel through the YouTube membership program. I think that is all excellent. I will link the full YouTube blog in the episode notes, but there's nothing more to say about it. Good job, YouTube. Thank you for finally listening and adding some comment filtering so it's not just a complete cluster F of words upon words upon words. Next piece of news, Amazon released new Alexa products. A bunch of new Echoes. There are glasses frames with a microphone and speaker in them. There's a Ring that has a microphone in it, like an actual Ring microphone in it. You could take calls on it too, and other stuff as well, including a Samuel L. Jackson celebrity voice option on your Echo device. I'll link a TechCrunch article covering all the Alexa products. It's wonderful. A bunch of new products so you can bug your own home. NSA, no, don't bother spending money on a device. I'll buy it. I'll buy the device and bug myself. Thank you very much. That is it for the news. Very slow news week. I was considering doing an episode, everything that I know about YouTube, or the hard truth about being a YouTuber, something along those lines. I need to give a lot of thought to that type of episode and how I want to structure it, but you can expect that in the future, when there's another slow news week, I want to do it properly because I don't want to put bad information out there. So keep your eyes open for that. Let's jump to what you had to say. First comment comes from Gamer Dotio. He says, "Hi, I would love to know what day the episodes are being recorded." Thank you very much for the comment, Gamer Dotio. I actually record the podcast episodes the same day that they are released. I record, edit, publish, do thumbnails, show notes, everything on the exact same day, and that would be Sunday, my time. I do occasionally do research throughout the week, but actual recording, processing, editing, that's Sunday. Thank you very much for the comment. Next comment comes from Up All Night. He says, "When a platform starts removing verification for non-identity related reasons, as Twitter does over offensive content, then verification kind of does start to equal endorsement." Up All Night, thank you very much for the comment, and I tend to agree with you here. If anybody listening doesn't understand what this is in reference to, last week we were discussing the de-verification of channels across YouTube, and there was a lot of speculation about the reasoning behind it. YouTube was saying that it was simply to decrease the amount of impersonation going on YouTube. But we were thinking it seems like it could be other things as well. And I think you're exactly right that if YouTube was actually de-verifying channels because the content became offensive, then it would actually be YouTube endorsing the channels that remain verified. And in the blog post that they put out about the de-verification, they made it very clear. Verification does not equal endorsement. Don't jump down our throats. So I agree with you 100%. Next comment comes from Rob. He says, "Here's my conspiracy theory contribution. As more capital C celebrities see YouTube as a viable space, the verification badge becomes something a little different, something that can have more cachet if it can be more exclusive, and this would help YouTube in recruiting them." Rob, thank you very much for the comment, and I have actually heard a couple of other people talking about this idea as well, and it seems to make a lot of sense. As we've seen celebrities move towards social media and start to have an online presence, I believe that they all want some differentiation from the regular plebs like me and you, or you and I. They want that check mark next to their name so it doesn't seem like they are just another YouTuber, another Twitter user. This is a special verified account. This account is important. What they say actually matters, unlike all you unverified scum. I can definitely see that. And YouTube adding or changing the verification status or criteria could lead to that change, and they could ultimately use it to market their platform to celebrities, saying, if you upload, you would be verified. You would have this cool little check mark, and people would care what you have to say because you have a check mark. You're a certified blue check mark. I agree. Next comment comes from Stefan. He says, "Is your show scripted? The white rectangular thingy on your desk is a touchpad for scrolling through the script. Kind regards." Stefan, thank you very much for the comment. I Priya, and it is not a scripted show. It is not a scripted podcast. I simply do a very thorough outline. While I'm researching, I will put the topic titles, what I'm going to say at the very top. Then I will put the links to the articles, the sources, and then I will essentially type out my thoughts. And because it is me typing them out, it does sound as though it is in my voice. I could probably read my outline and it would sound as though it was an unscripted show as long as I can read properly, which you all know I cannot do. So I could read the outline and make it seem like it is a non-scripted show, but it is not a scripted show. I just use it as an outline and I type out my thoughts on the topic so I can flush out the ideas. And it's not just going in dark, because I struggle with formulating well thought out ideas on certain topics. And I want to do as much preparation as possible to ensure that what I am saying is on point and at least somewhat valuable to everybody listening. That is it for what you had to say. Let's jump to the Ask Bandrew segment. All right. If y'all got any questions, go ahead and send them to askbandrew@gmail.com, and I will likely answer them on an upcoming episode of the podcast. If you want to do me a huge solid, go ahead and leave a voicemail on bandrewsays.com and bandrewscott.com. You can do that using the SpeakPipe app, or you can send in a video on YouTube, and I can work my magic and pull that down. First email comes from Nikita. They say, "Hey Bandrew, your fan from Russia here. Right to the question. My room is acoustically treated and echo is not an issue, but I have a 6-lane street right under my windows, so background noise is over 9,000. Too much for a regular condenser. I can't build a sound booth and I can't move. I have 2 choices, Shure SM7B or Rode NTG3. Both are the same price here, considering I'll need to buy a cloud lifter for the SM7B. What would you recommend in such circumstances since you had experience with both? Thanks, all the best, Nikita." He sent a follow-up email saying, "Sorry, forgot to mention it is for narration." Nikita, thank you very much for the email, and I just wish that every single YouTube commenter who asks for advice would take note from this email. You provide nearly every piece of information that would be required to make a decision here. Both of the mics, I will start with this, both mics will likely still pick up background noise from the street. It is awful that you have that and you are unable to move or build a sound booth or anything. Before you buy one of these microphones, the first thing I would recommend is maybe picking up some moving blankets or some sound blankets that you can hang over the windows while you're recording. Some sound blankets have grommets along the top. You could put some nails or some hooks above the window, and then when you go to record, toss them in front of the window to try to dampen some of that sound down. If you haven't tried that, and if that's not possible, or if you haven't tried that, I would recommend trying that first before you end up spending $700, because that solution would be maybe $100 at most. That's the route I would go. But between these 2 microphones, I think that the NTG3 might pick up a little bit less background noise because it is a narrower pickup pattern. You would need to experiment with the placement and the angle where you're putting the noise in terms of the dead areas of the microphone, because the front does have a lobe and then the rear of the microphone has a lobe. So you need to really experiment with the shotgun microphone to determine what the best, I guess, angle to place the microphone would be. That's the one I would go with, even though I love the SM7B. For narration, though, yeah, I think that's the best option, the NT3 of those 2. Let me know how it works, and I hope you can try the sound blankets first, because that will be significantly cheaper than spending $700 on a new microphone. Best of luck, Nikita. Look forward to hearing back from you. Next email comes from Conrad. He says, I love your channel on YouTube, and I figured you'd be the best person to ask. I have finished writing a hip-hop rap album, and I am looking for a microphone. I looked at your website and went through the charts. I plan to record it in an untreated room using the Focusrite Scarlett Solo 2nd generation USB audio interface. My price point would be around these 3 microphones. Which would you recommend the most? He lists Rode NT1, Sennheiser MK4, and AT2035. Conrad, thank you very much for the email. I appreciate you. No, I pre-ya. If you have the option of the NT1 and the Sennheiser MK4, I would say drop the 2035 from your options because the MK4 and the NT1, just better microphones. Then I'm going to ask you, do you want a more neutral sound? Or do you want a brighter, more finished sound as though EQ has already been added to it? Which of those two do you like? If you want the more neutral sound that will be a little bit more malleable in post-production because it doesn't have all the boosts already built into the sound, so you can add EQ wherever you want a little bit easier without having to do reductive EQ first and then add everything back in. If you want that, go with the Rode NT1. But if you want a brighter, if you want that more finished sound, then go with the MK4. With that being said, both of them are excellent microphones, and I don't think you'll have any issues with them. If you buy either of them, your recordings will sound good as long as you set up the gain staging properly, although you only have a gain knob. As long as you set your gain properly and you don't mess up the post-processing, it'll sound great with either of the microphones. Hope that helps. I know that's not what you wanted to hear. It's your decision. You have to make it. Which of those tones do you want? Next email, hey, comes from Gamer Dotio. Already sent in a comment as well. He says, hey, Bandrew, I have a few quick questions today. Why do you like the Blue Compass more than the PSA 1? 2, can you bring back the Versus series or Why I Don't Game, please? And 3, which do you prefer, tea or iced tea? Thanks, Gamer.io. He provided a pronunciation. Thank you for that. It's not Gamer Dotio. It's Gamer.io. Appreciate you, Gamer.io. First question, I don't really prefer the Compass over the PSA 1. I just tend to switch out boom arms on occasion, rarely, and I have just changed out the boom arm. I was using the Blue Compass for a while because I did enjoy having the track, the hidden track for the cabling, but now I have switched back to the OC White Ultima mic arm, the most expensive boom arm that I have purchased yet. You'll see in the future. I will be switching out from this in the future. I just need to get better at soldering. I almost called it soldering. And then I need to solder some stuff, and then you'll see the new boom arm. Or boom arms. Second question, what was it? Bringing back the Versus series and Why I Don't Game. First, I don't want to bring back Why I Don't Game onto the Podcastage channel. I didn't like the idea of uploading completely unrelated content to the channel. I understand that does give people a little bit more of an insight into who I am and more of my personality. I just don't think that it is right for me to say, I want to do different content today. Here's a random video. If I do the Why I Don't Game series, I will put it on a different channel because I think it's wrong to flood people's subscription boxes and notifications boxes with stuff that they didn't subscribe for. As far as the Versus series, I do need to get back into that. It is just very difficult to fit it into the schedule given that I have so much stuff backed up to review and I'm only doing one video per week. If I do up the production schedule and release more videos, I will get back into that because those are some really useful and some of my better performing videos. It is just what microphones do I compare, which is why I put out a community post a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a week ago, saying, what do you want me to compare in the Versus series? So maybe you'll be seeing a Versus series coming up. And which do I prefer, tea or iced tea? I love me some Earl Grey hot. I don't think I have had iced tea in years, mainly because most iced tea here, unless you make it yourself, is just full of sugar. It's essentially drinking a soda. And I don't want, if I'm drinking tea, I want it to be somewhat healthy and not just a shot of sugar with a little bit of tea leaf extract in there. Is that what tea is? Tea leaf extract? I don't know. But I would say typical hot Earl Grey tea, any kind of black tea, I am a huge fan of. I don't really drink much green tea or anything. There's all the hot black tea, but I prefer coffee. I'm American. Americans love coffee. Brits and Europeans love tea. Well, no, I shouldn't say Europeans, because Italians love coffee as well. They may be more espresso. I don't know. Coffee. Thank you very much for the email, gamer.io. I appreciate you. I pre-ya. Last email comes from ya guy Ryan. He says, I have had my Ultra Voice XM8500 for a couple of months now, but as I was moving the box around today, I found in the front there was a photo of someone using it as a side address microphone facepalm. Good job, Behringer. Top quality packaging. Thank you very much, Ryan, for finding this. It was right in front of our faces all along. And on the packaging, I think we need to look at packaging a little bit more, or I do, because I bet we would find significantly more microphone fails being advertised by the actual companies. We have seen it with Blue retweeting. Yes, they were press shots or something for some random podcast. But yeah, they retweeted a post of somebody speaking into the wrong side of the Yeti. We have Behringer showing their handheld dynamic microphone as a side address microphone. Get it together, guys and girls and thems and theys and whatever you want to be called. That's it for the What You Had to Say. Ask Bandrew. You know what time it is now. Yeah, you do. And now it's time for Movies of the Week. Hey, Mom! I need some popcorn! Welcome back to Movies of the Week. The film of the week is the 1985 horror comedy film Return of the Living Dead. And I will start by saying this. This may be one of my new all-time favorite zombie films. It's never going to top Shaun of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead is essentially a perfect film. No other zombie film will ever top it for me. But this came close because it is a zombie film that respects the zombie genre, but at the same time does not take itself too seriously, which always makes it much more of a fun watch. You do still have great zombie films that do take themselves seriously, like 28 Days Later, but I personally lean towards the more comedic approach. A little bit about the plot of this. It's about a medical supply company in some downtown business district, and they are accidentally sent 55-gallon containment drums with zombies stored in them. Yeah. Maybe I missed this while watching the film, but when a medical supply company is accidentally sent zombies in a can, would they not call the military and tell them, you accidentally sent us these drums with zombies in them, want to come pick them up? Regardless, they did not do that. And we also find that there are military officers placed around the world, maybe around the country, that are on call 24 hours a day, waiting to hear, oh my God, there's a zombie outbreak. We've located the missing containers, and the zombies have been released. We need a contingency plan. Well, I'm sure they had a contingency plan. We need to carry out our plan now. Well, That's all the backstory. A punk guy starts working at this medical supply company, and there's a manager, a very dopey, lovable, goofy middle management type guy. He seems like a more likable Dwight Schrute. And while he is running this new employee through the paces, saying, this is what you do, this is what you don't do, he tells him a story about the scariest thing he's ever seen. He received zombies in a can, and he says, do you want to see them? He goes and shows them the zombies in a can, hits the can, there's nothing that can break these. What happens? It breaks. Gas releases from the canister, and they pass out, and a zombie outbreak begins, and hilarity ensues. There's a whole 5-minute scene in here where a punk girl strips completely naked, and I am talking full frontal nudity, and dances in a cemetery on top of graves, and she just remains naked for the remainder of the film, because while she's dancing naked, the gas gets sent up into the sky because they cremate one of the zombies, and that causes burning acid rain. So they run from the graveyard into the car, and she's naked the rest of the film. That's fun. That's cool to look at. Then there is the standout performance is James Karen. He reacts how I think most people would react in a zombie apocalypse, just screaming and freaking out the entire time. But I will admit, spoiler alert, I think he handles finding out that he is dead pretty well. I think he handles that pretty well. You may think he's screaming a lot, but I would have reacted much worse than that. On that note, this film does not follow the typical zombie requirements or zombie laws. These zombies can talk, and damaging the brain or severing the head of the zombie does not lead to the zombie dying. It is very different in that sense, but that leads to additional comedic areas where there are solo zombie heads. Just standalone zombie heads, you never see that because severing the head is supposed to kill the zombie. You see that. Also, in the medical supply area, what are there? Anatomy things. One of them being a dog that had been severed in half, and it comes back to life. So you see half of a dog barking, and it's insane. It is an insane film. If you are looking for a 1980s style zombie comedy horror film, then this is one for you. I think that something that sets this apart from Shaun of the Dead is it's not subtle. In Shaun of the Dead, the situations are insane. Some of the acting is over the top, but then there are very heartfelt and subtle moments, as we saw when Shaun's mother died. But here, it's almost as though the actors asked the director, is this good? Am I going far enough? We're at 100%. Is this good enough? And the director said, yeah, sure, that's good enough. Don't go any farther. And then the actor said, okay, yeah, I'll go farther. I'll take it. I'll go 150%. It is, they just commit to it. It is bonkers and insane and so much fun to watch. There you go. That's the movie of the week. The Return of the Living Dead. I need to get it on VHS so I have all of the mediums, but I looked it up. The VHS is $50-$60. I'm not going to pay that. If any of you have Return of the Living Dead on VHS, send me an email. I will buy it off of you. I would love to get my hands on the VHS, but I'm not going to pay $50 or $75. I saw one, $150. Ain't going to do it. It's a VHS, dog. What did I just do? Did I just quit the recording? I really hope not. Okay, we're still going. Last thing, I guess I will mention, I am going to try something a little bit different with processing. Typically, I will do de-reverb, I will do denoise. No, I'll do a gate, mouth declick, de-esser, all sorts of stuff. I am going to try to limit the post-processing I do. I don't think I'll even do I'll run a deplosive, de-esser, and a mouth declick, and then I will just have the master compressor and limiter, and I will master everything to -16 LUFS. But other than that, nothing else. I want to see how it sounds without being so thorough, to put it in a nice way, excessive in a less nice way with my processing. And just a reminder, International Podcast Day, September 30th, which is today, 9 p.m. PDT or 12 p.m. EDT. Would love to see you there. internationalpodcastday.com/live. Heather, Welch, and I will be discussing community from the Geeks Rising Podcast Network. That's it. I'll talk to you next time. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Bye.
This has been a Geeks Rising production, your executive producer of Bandrew Scott. For more information, head over to www.geeksrising.com.